Hey guys, I'm Lindsay Moore and I'm an aspiring cook living on Lake Bowen in Spartanburg, South Carolina. My blog, Just a Little Organic, JLO for short, is where I chronicle my life and share my passion for food, healthy living, and nature with friends and family. Now, thanks to Ingles, I'm gonna cook with you. I'll take you through step by step and show you how to bring some of my favorites to your kitchen table. Today we're starting out at Ingles, getting the ingredients to make my quick and easy salmon with olive relish and broccolini. Here's what we need. 1/4 a cup of chopped pitted Kalamata olives, 1 tablespoon of chopped capers, 1 tablespoon of thinly sliced lemon zest, 4 teaspoons of olive oil, kosher salt and black pepper, 2 bunches of broccolini, or about 1 pound, and you trim the ends, 2 cloves of garlic, 1 1/4 pounds of skinless salmon fillet cut into 4 pieces. Remember, this is all on the website at ingles-markets.com, so you can print out a list and take it with you or pull it up on your phone when you're at the store. Now let's get cooking. And now we're ready to start cooking. Today we're going to be cooking a quick and easy salmon with olive relish and broccolini. And here I've got my wild sockeye salmon from Ingles. They have a great selection of wild salmon, which is my personal favorite. I choose to get sockeye salmon instead of farm salmon. It tastes a little bit more fishy, but it is loaded with carotenoids. Think about those antioxidants that make carrots orange. It's the same thing that's in salmon, and the fatty acids are great for your brain and your heart, and so it's one of my favorites, but we'll get cooking. This dish is super easy to make. It's quick, it's easy. I love to make it when I come home from work. First thing I'm gonna do is make my olive relish. And here we've got nice chopped Kalamata olives and our chopped capers. We're just gonna add them straight to our olives. And then I'm gonna get my olive oil and add 2 teaspoons of good olive oil. You want to use good olive oil for this if you have it, just because the flavor is, you're not cooking with it, you're just eating it straight from the bowl. And then we're gonna add the zest of about 1 lemon. And it doesn't have to be exact here, you just zest till your lemon's out of zest. When you're zesting lemon, make sure you just get the yellow part. You don't want to get the white part because it'll be all bitter. All right, that looks like about 1 tablespoon. We're going to give this a little stir. And I'm going to add a pinch of kosher salt, just so that to bring all the flavors together. But there's a lot of salt in both capers and olives, so it'll be nice and it'll add a nice dimension to the salmon.
Pull that left hand back, just there you go. Cool. I know you need to hold it. So.
Okay, we're going to set this aside. And next we are going to trim our broccolini. And broccolini is just a cross between conventional broccoli and Chinese broccoli. It's a little bit sweeter, a little bit more tender, and if you do have to use regular broccoli, it's completely fine. Just slice it thinly into stalks. Okay. We're gonna unbundle our broccolini and just trim the ends off about 1 inch, not too much, maybe 2 inches. So we're going to take it and just chop them like that. Next, we're going to add a teaspoon of our olive oil to our smaller pan, the pan with the lid, because you're going to put the broccolini in here and cover it and let it steam. So we're going to add the olive oil, take our broccolini, and add our water, 1/2 cup of water. And garlic. And we're gonna let this cook for about 6 to 8 minutes, and we're going to stir it occasionally, just checking to make sure that the water's still in there and it's steaming nicely. And as that cooks, I'm going to move on to my salmon. I'm going to season the salmon with a little bit of kosher salt and fresh cracked black pepper. Now I'm going to add the last teaspoon of oil to my pan and turn it to medium high and add my salmon. We're going to carefully add each piece of salmon to the warm skillet. And again here, you don't want to crowd the pan, but a 12-inch skillet works very nicely. And we're going to let this cook over medium-high heat for about 5 minutes on each side. As the salmon cooks, we're going to check our broccolini just to make sure the water's still in there and it's steaming nicely. And it looks fabulous. It's turning a bright green color and you can smell the yummy garlic. It's looking good. All right, we're back in our kitchen and it's been about 3 minutes. I know I said 5 minutes, but at about 3 minutes you want to check them, and these are looking good and they're a little bit smoky, so I'm ready to flip. I'm going to take each one and carefully flip to the other side. And if you can help it, you only want to turn them once, but if you can't, it's not a big deal. And if it starts smoking too much, just turn down the heat and it'll be fine. We're going to let these cook for another 3 to 5 minutes and we're going to check them. And while these are cooking, we're going to check our broccolini again. And it is still looking good. They're almost done. So what we're going to do is put the lid on these and turn down the heat to low or simmer. And they're just going to keep cooking while our salmon finishes up. Take a look at this delicious crust. That's how you want it to look. It's okay if it looks a little brown or black or burned. It doesn't mean that the salmon isn't going to be moist inside. It's kind of good that you do the salmon on the skin side down first because all of the heat crisps the outside and you don't eat that part anyway, so you're good. So it's been about 4 minutes since we flipped sides, and you can tell when salmon's done when it's firm and cooked through and it's opaque. The only thing with sockeye salmon is it's pretty pink or orange or whatever color you want to call it, so you can't really tell if it's cooked through like you can with farm salmon. So what you want to do is just poke it a little bit, and if it's firm, it's probably done. You don't want to overcook it or it will get completely dry and chewy and bleh. Okay, I'm going to check the broccolini one more time. Make sure they're still doing okay and not sticking to the bottom of the pan. And these look great. So we're going to cover that and just turn off the heat. It'll stay hot with all the steam in the pan. And it looks like our salmon is ready to take off the burner. So we're going to turn off the heat and we're just going to take each one and put it nicely on this plate here. I can definitely tell that they're done because they're not falling apart. If they weren't done, they would be all flimsy. And our broccolini is nice and steamed. And we're going to put this right next to the salmon on the same platter. And here's our broccolini. Smells so good and garlicky and fresh. This whole meal is a fresh, easy, impressive meal, and you really don't need that many ingredients. I think it's about 6 ingredients or so. And it's great to have when you have friends over or when you don't have a lot of time. All right, so everything looks nice and pretty on our plate, and I'm gonna add one last touch, and I'm gonna take that lemon that we zested, and I'm just gonna cut it in half. And I'm taking the seeds out, but I'm just gonna sprinkle a little bit of lemon juice, and this is totally optional. You don't have to do this, but I like a little lemon. And if people don't like fishy flavor, this kind of cuts that, even though it probably doesn't have that much anyway. All right, the last step is to top each piece of salmon with a little bit of relish, and this relish smells so fresh because of the lemon, and it's going to add a nice salty dimension to the salmon and the broccolini. The garlic smells delicious coming from the broccolini, and it's also going to add a little bit of crunch, but not too much. It's just a great complement to the sweetness of the broccolini. But the capers and the olives and the fruitiness of the olive oil and the citrus of the lemon really add a lot of dimension to the fattiness in the salmon. It's just delicious. And you can also just go ahead and pour the rest over the broccolini. Look at that, all those colors and all that texture. It just looks so pretty on the plate, and it is an awesome dish to serve if you want to impress people, or if you just want to impress your family. Anything you want. But we are out of time for today, and I want to thank you so much for joining me here at the Ingles table. Remember, you can find this recipe, videos, photos, and more on the website at ingles-markets.com. Until next time, I'll see you online.